Hi, Chef Raphael here. Today's video I'm going to show you how to make fine beans. Now this is a form of vegetable. They look like this. Now on this video I'll share tips on how to choose the right ones when you're buying them, how to prepare them, what to look out for, especially when buying, and also how to prepare them. There's two ways of preparing them. I've mentioned all in the video. Now this one has some nice onion. They actually smell really nice. My mouth is actually watering. This acts as an accompaniment to your main dish, as the vegetable to your dish. So you can actually serve it just exactly like this. You can garnish it with something red, like chopped red peppers or yellow peppers. You can cook them with other vegetables as well. That's something I didn't say in the video. You can actually cook them with carrots or any other vegetables, probably that you have cut them into long strips. So watch till the end, you learn something new. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. My channel is all about making you a better home cook or home baker. So check on my playlist to watch more. Let's get cooking. So the first thing before we start cooking the fine beans, let me discuss about what to look out for when buying. Now, the first thing you want to see is when buying is that they should all be the same size. Now, what I have here, they're all actually the same size. In fact, when buying them in a container like this, you'll be able actually to tell because they are actually all almost the same size. So that's the first thing. So when cooking, you also need to decide, do you want to cut them in half? Now, when you're cooking this, you can actually cook it whole or you can cut it in half. But the ones that are slightly longer than this, you probably need to cut them in half. So that's the first thing. So I want medium-sized fine beans or French beans. So that's the first thing. The other thing you need to look out for is that they should not be big. Now, anything bigger than what I have here is not good. So they should not be too thick, and they should actually still be crunchy. When you cut them on the inside, they should be crunchy, and the beans that are actually inside, they should not be big. Now, should you ever find any that the bean is actually visible, it's very big when you cut them into two, then don't buy it. That would be really, really hard. It will be really chewy, and basically it's not a good quality. In fact, those belongs to the cattle, if you ask me, or cows or animals, basically to eat as food. Now, so you have that covered. You have both the right size, the right thickness. Now, the other thing that I want to mention is when buying French beans or fine beans, you should not cut both ends. So they usually have this part and the part which has the stalk that was attached to the plant. Now this is the only part you need to remove, and all you need to do is just pinch it out. This one, leave it. You do not cut this. So the ones that I usually cut on both sides, this side and this side, I don't like them because they tend to go bad easily. Now if they stay in the fridge longer, the easier they will start getting bad, especially on the edges where they are trimmed. So don't buy the ones that have both ends. And when you're cutting them, when you want to cook them, you only cut the one end. Now, when it comes to cooking, before you start cooking, you actually need to trim off that part which has the edges. So all you need to do is to align them, and then with the sharp knife, you can either cut them with a sharp knife or just pick them out one by one. So these ones don't have that part, but that's fine because I'll just trim them off. But again, what you need to look out for, don't get the ones that have already been cut on the both sides, especially if you're not going to use them all at once. Also, the other thing, another important tip, buy whatever you can finish. Don't buy too much. When it comes to vegetables, the more you buy, the harder it is to keep them. Even in the fridge, they will tend to go bad easily. So just buy whatever you feel is enough for like 2 or 3 days, or at least at the very most 1 week in the fridge. So let's start cooking them now. the first thing I want to do is to blanch the fine beans, and that is basically cooking them briefly in boiling water. Now the first thing you want to do when you're blanching is make sure that the salt is enough. So plenty of salty water, or plenty of salt in the water. You basically want the water to taste like ocean water, or basically very salty if you have never been to the ocean. So when that is boiling, what you need to do now is to take your fine beans and then just dip them in the boiling water. So that's really important. The water should be boiling just before you put them in. So now this will take about 2 minutes and they'll be ready to cook on the next level. So the next level is basically frying them. Now when you're blanching them, you can actually do this in advance and then store them in the freezer or even in the fridge. They will keep longer when they are already blanched than when they are raw. So wait for about 2 minutes and then we'll come back to fry them and I'll show you what to do next. So now while they are blanching, they're actually almost done. I have some sliced onion, a little bit of oil. Heat is already on, so you want the onion to cook until it's soft. So while that is happening, now what you need to do for the fine beans, first of all, the green is much nicer after blanching. So I'm just going to put them on the colander here. And even turn off the heat. Now at this stage, they're actually cooked. The green is nicer right now than it was when it was raw. And then when you bite into it, how you know it's actually cooked, it should just snap off. And then when you're tasting, it's a good idea to taste also the salt. So the salt that I had put in the water, just make sure when you're tasting it, you can taste it so that you can tell how much more salt you can add when you're frying them. So if you're not going to cook them immediately, you can put them in cold water to stop the cooking process. So basically it will make them cool down. If you leave them while they are still hot, they'll keep cooking. But in this case, I want to cook them immediately. So now, just want the onion to cook until it's soft. So you can add some garlic or even ginger if you like, but at least garlic or not. In this case, I'm just cooking them with a little bit of onion. Now for the onion, you don't want it to color, you just want it to be soft. It takes about 2 minutes on medium heat, depending on how you have cut the onion. In my case, I chose to cut them long because my fine beans are also long. And then all you need, especially because they are still hot, all you need to do is put them in to mix with the onion. So this will actually be the vegetable of your dish. So I've tasted it. I need a little bit of salt, slightly more salt. I felt the salt was not enough. And pepper. That's it. Now you can actually add some butter when you're cooking them to give it more flavor. I'll actually add that because I have it in my fridge. So all I do is, so whenever you're cooking with oil, you can either start with a little bit of cooking oil and then finish it off with some butter. So this one does not take long. It actually, you only need for them to cook for about a minute or until they are hot. So now I'm going to serve them on a plate and then I'll end the video to give you extra tips when it comes to serving them. So there you have it, served, ready for to have as a vegetable of your main dish. Chicken, beef, I don't know, a stew or any dry fried meat, it's up to you. So this is the vegetable. The color actually looks really nice. They are nice and glossy. I love this finish whereby you have more of the onions that are visible. So it's up to you also. You can choose again, like I said on the video, to add even garlic to add extra flavor. And it's as simple as that. The most important thing I think is the blanching part. But I'll also be honest, you can actually even cook it, especially when you have this type of French beans, you can actually even cook it without blanching. And then put them, fry the onions slightly and then cook them, and in that way, preferably when they are cut, either smaller pieces, you can cook them from scratch without blanching as well. But personally, I prefer blanching them slightly and then frying them off like this. Can have it as a salad, but I'll actually do another video on how you can actually do a 3-bean salad, which will include the fine beans. I hope you've learned something new. Signing out, I'm Chef Raphael, and until next time, goodbye.